Amber sat across from me, her manicured fingers trembling as she tried to keep her voice steady. Wisdom, please, you don't understand. I need the money by Friday. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. I need your help to run this journey, thank you. I didn't respond, I just stared at her, the sister who once laughed at my all-stained hands, now twisting her diamond ring like it could change the past. The smell of burnt coffee lingered between us. I slid the check across the table, face down. She reached for it too quickly, and I caught her wrist. Funny, I said quietly, how life flips the script. Her lips parted. What's that supposed to mean? I smiled. You'll find out soon. Hook, justice had arrived. My name's Wisdom. I'm 32, born and raised in Ohio. To my family, that name was always a joke. Big name for a small dreamer, Amber used to say. Our parents adored her. She was the polished one, pretty, confident, the real estate queen. And me, the kid who never left the garage. I wasn't lazy, I just loved engines. I liked fixing things that others threw away. But in our family, success had to look expensive to count. The night everything changed was our dad's 60th birthday. The whole family gathered at a fancy restaurant downtown. Amber had arranged everything, centerpieces, speeches, even her own toast. When it was my turn to speak, I said something simple. Dad, thanks for teaching me to work with my hands. Amber laughed, loud. Oh, come on, Wisdom, you make it sound like you're still playing with toy cars, she said. People chuckled, even Dad smiled awkwardly. I felt my face burn. My girlfriend Erin looked down at her plate. Amber kept going. You should let me find you a real job. There's a position opening at my firm, maybe as the janitor. Everyone laughed, except me. That was the moment I decided, never again. I drove home in silence. Erin tried to comfort me, but her words felt like distant noise. That night while she slept, I stared at the ceiling, replaying every smirk, every laugh, every "you'll never make it." Then I opened my laptop and wrote a plan, turn my shop into a business that even Amber couldn't mock. No anger, just purpose. My repair shop was small, 3 bays, 1 employee, and a flickering neon sign that said Wisdom's Auto Works. People thought it was cute, I thought it was a start. I began recording every expense, every part, every satisfied customer. I offered free labor for classic cars, just to get my name out there. Within a year, collectors started calling. Within 2, I was restoring vintage Mustangs and Porsches. Amber never noticed. She showed up one afternoon, unannounced, in her white Mercedes. She stepped out wearing heels that sank into the gravel, wrinkling her nose. So this is where you work, she asked. Yeah, I said, pays the bills. She laughed, well, good for you, some of us prefer air conditioning. Then she handed me her keys. Can you clean the interior? It smells like gasoline. That was Amber using me, mocking me, pretending it was love. The next few years were a blur. I opened a second shop, then a third, each one cleaner, sleeker, more profitable. Luxury clients started recommending me to each other. Soon I wasn't fixing cars, I was restoring legacies. The same people who ignored me now wanted me. But I never forgot the sound of her laughter that night at the restaurant. Then one Sunday, Dad called. Your sister's been having a tough time, he said quietly. Her firm, in trouble. I didn't react. Trouble how? He sighed. She made some bad deals, something about investors pulling out, she won't talk about it. I didn't say it out loud, but deep down, I knew the universe had started balancing the scales. 2 months later, she called me. Her voice was soft, unfamiliar. Wisdom, she said, I need to ask you something important. Can we meet? I could have said no, I could have hung up. But I didn't. I wanted to see what desperation looked like on her face. That's how we ended up at that diner, the one where this story began. She told me everything. Her husband had left after the company went bankrupt. She owed $40,000 to a lender who wanted it now. And then with a shaky breath, she said, I know I haven't been fair to you, but you're the only person I can ask. I looked at her, the same woman who once laughed at my job. And for the first time, I didn't feel anger, I felt control. I leaned back and said, "All right, I'll help you." Her eyes lit up. But I continued, "It won't be free." She frowned, "You mean interest?" I smiled, "No, respect." Amber blinked, "What do you mean?" "I'll give you the money if you work for me, 1 month, as my assistant." She laughed, thinking I was joking. But when she saw my face, her laughter died. Monday morning, Amber showed up in heels again. She stood awkwardly in my office as my staff watched, the same woman who once called me the grease boy. I handed her a pair of gloves. "You'll be organizing parts inventory," I said. Her jaw dropped. "You can't be serious." "Oh, I am, you said you needed help." Her eyes flashed with humiliation, but she took the gloves. By noon her hair was messy, her hands smudged. I caught her glaring at the other employees, whispering behind her. Every now and then she'd mutter, "I can't believe this." Neither could they, the proud Amber cleaning toolboxes. But that was the point. At lunch, she snapped. "Are you enjoying this, making me look like a fool?" I looked at her calmly. "No, Amber, I'm showing you what hard work looks like." She stared at me for a long time, then looked away. For the first time, she didn't have a comeback. By the end of week 2, something changed. She stopped complaining, she started arriving early. One day, she even fixed a customer's order mistake on her own. I saw glimpses of the sister I used to admire, buried under pride. That night, she lingered after closing. "Wisdom," she said softly, "I didn't realize how hard you worked." For once, her voice didn't sound superior, it sounded human. At the end of her month, I called her into the office. She stood nervously as I opened a drawer and handed her a check. $40,000, I said, "No strings, you earned it." Her eyes widened. "Wait, you're giving it to me?" I nodded. "You kept your word, so will I." She started to cry. Amber wiped her tears and whispered, "I don't deserve this." I said, "You didn't before, but now you do." She reached out, hesitated, then hugged me. It wasn't dramatic, just quiet, real. And for the first time, I felt peace. A week later, Dad called again. "Amber wanted me to tell you something," he said. "She sold her car, paid back her investors, and she told everyone how much you helped her." I was surprised, that wasn't part of my plan. Maybe she really had changed. Or maybe life wasn't done testing me yet. 2 months later, I was invited to a business conference as a guest speaker, From Grease to Greatness. As I stood backstage, guess who I saw being introduced as the host? Amber. She smiled nervously when our eyes met. The irony wasn't lost on either of us. When I walked on stage, she handed me the mic. For a second, I saw the same flicker of pride, the old Amber. But then she stepped back and whispered, "You've earned this." And in that moment, I realized. She didn't need punishment anymore, she needed grace. I looked out at the crowd. "When people laugh at your dreams," I said, "don't fight them, just keep working until their laughter turns into silence." Amber stood in the wings, tears in her eyes. Justice didn't need to humiliate her, it needed to teach her. After the conference, Amber approached me. "I sold my firm," she said, "and I'm starting something new. I want you as a partner." I smiled. "I appreciate it, but no, I like the smell of engine oil too much." She laughed, genuinely this time. And for the first time, we laughed together. Months later, she repaid me the full $40,000, plus interest. I never asked for it, but she insisted. Inside the envelope, she'd written a note. "You fixed cars, you fixed me too." I stood there in my shop, surrounded by the hum of engines, and realized the revenge I wanted had already transformed into something better. Dad retired that year. At the family barbecue, he raised a toast. To my daughter, who learned humility, and my son, who taught it by example. Amber smiled, and I saw peace in her eyes, the same peace I finally felt inside. Sometimes revenge isn't about destroying someone. It's about watching them rebuild and realizing you've both grown. Amber never mocked me again. And I never needed her approval again. Because the best revenge is becoming everything they said you couldn't be and forgiving them anyway. Drop your opinion about my story on the comment section below.